again. It's Matt, or Dooku, or whatever the hell you want to call me. I just wanted to, I'm still traveling from Sudbury. It's only been about half an hour maybe. But I was just thinking about things about a bit of content I could make today on this journey, and I thought I would talk about Canada in general, and kind of our road to full independence. Now, Canada gained independence from Britain in 1867, though when exactly we got full self-determination remains to be seen. There are people who would argue that self-determination came later than 1867. There are people who say that we're still not a free and sovereign nation because we serve a British monarch, or we pledge fealty to King Charles III as a Commonwealth throne. It's a complicated question, and I thought I would share a little bit of my thoughts. So my choice of when we achieved self-determination would probably be in the early 20th century. I would say that the process that we got self-determination more closer to 1932, but really the process began before Confederation. It began in 1812, I would argue. In 1812, we were a group of colonists and indigenous peoples from various backgrounds. We had French colonists, English loyalists from America, Métis, fur traders, indigenous people, and British troops. And so this very mixed group of individuals living in the same region. Different languages, different religions, different backgrounds, and different cultures. But the War of 1812 kind of started us on I would argue, it started us on the road to building a nation. When all these various groups kind of worked together to beat back an invading army until reinforcements could arrive to assist us. And so this began our process of self-determination in 1815 when the war ended. Obviously, I covered a little bit of the 1837 revolts in Canada, where actually we did even briefly have a Canadian president. But the first and only Canadian president. And then obviously we got our independence in 1867 after a push by the colony of Canada to become a British Dominion. We thought about calling ourselves the Kingdom of Canada, but it was believed by the fathers of Confederation that we needed to make sure that we showed our fealty to the British Crown. So since we weren't taking a monarch of our own, we chose to call ourselves the Dominion of Canada. And this remained the name of Canada until the 80s, when we changed the name slightly. We just dropped the Dominion part. So 1867 happens, and everyone's really happy and joyful. There's songs written about it. It's written down in plays. We celebrate it on the 1st of July every year. And then we still feel these really deep ties to the British Empire as a culture. Obviously, we feel we viewed Britain as the mother country, the imperial overlord, and we were happy with this arrangement for the next 50 years. And then World War I happens. at that time, we didn't control our own foreign policy. Britain still... It was an interesting situation where we had a constitution. It just wasn't in Canada. The constitution was in British Parliament. So any changes we wanted to make to our constitution had to be ratified by British Parliament. Since we weren't fully independent, we were a Dominion state. So basically what happens is at the outbreak of World War I, some Austrian is driving in Bosnia and is killed by a Serb, which obviously means war, obviously. And I'm trivializing the death of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, but it kicks off and Britain enters the war and automatically pulls in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of the Dominion realms. And Canadians are very happy about this. In fact, there's a huge rush by Canadians to join the Canadian Army, just so that because we were really concerned that it would be over by Christmas. It was already September, so by the time you train up an army and send it over there. By the time that happens, we were worried that the war would be over, and we wanted to get in on the action. And what happened was, obviously, the war was not over by Christmas. And Canada had a population in 1915 of maybe 5 million, being generous. And we sent about 650,000 young men overseas to fight in France and Belgium, and we took horrific casualties there. Like a third of the soldiers that we sent were about 220,000 were killed. Like about 200,000 soldiers were killed in action over a period of 4 years, and then several 100,000 more. Like the rest suffered horrific PTSD from the war. And of course we fought in several battles on our own, and we, notable battles would be the Passchendaele, the Battle of Ypres, and most notably Vimy Ridge, where in 1917, 4 battalions of the Canadian Army under a new Canadian general basically took Vimy Ridge from the Germans. The Germans had seized it in late 1914, and both the French and the British had tried to take it in 1915 and 1916, and had failed to do so. And Canadians, so it was deemed like it was deemed an impossible ridge to take. But the British promised that they wanted to move the line forward, so they ordered Canadians to do there. And Canadian troops, we managed to actually take the ridge and push the line about 10 miles that day. Or something like, we pushed the line quite a bit that day. I don't know if it was 10 miles. I might be misremembering my facts. But it's it's a day that it was a battle that proved to be nation forming for our country, and it allowed us to when the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919. It allowed us to basically we were the only British Dominion that was allowed to sign as a independent and sovereign country, as an independent signatory. Australia wasn't given that, even though they made horrible sacrifices in Gallipoli and the Mediterranean battles. But it proved to be a very nation-building moment for us, where we could rally around the trauma of this war. And in the aftermath of World War I, we changed our constitution so that Britain couldn't decide our foreign policy for us, just because we didn't want to be drawn into another imperialistic war. So, yeah, we changed the Constitution, and in 1931, the British Commonwealth was founded, where instead of Britain being a overlord to us, they turned more into a sister nation, with Canada being a separate but a separate and distinct kingdom within the British realm. And we still are a kingdom to this day within the British Commonwealth. That hasn't changed. But our constitution was still overseas, and continued to do so. Every time we wanted to change it, we had to ask British Parliament, hey, can you change our can you vote for this change? A tedious process. And then World War II happens, and Canadians made a point of, we wanted to join. We were always going to join on the side of Britain. But we made a point in World War II to join a week after the war began. Britain and France declared war, I want to say September 3rd, 1939. And Canada declared war on Germany on September 10th. And that was just to send a message to Britain saying, we're always going to go to bat for you, but we're our own nation. You're not deciding this for us. And of course, we fought in World War II and won distinction there, and there were many more battles that proved to be nation-building moments for our nation. Most notably, Dieppe, where Canadian and British commandos launched a raid into Dieppe and were brutally murdered, just slaughtered on that day. Kind of Churchill threw away 2,000 Canadians, either captured or prisoners, that were then sent to the concentration camps, just to show Stalin, hey, we're doing something. So that's a bit of a sore point for us, is Dieppe. And then in D-Day, we were given one of the most difficult beaches, Juno Beach, and we were the only Allied nation that was able to complete all our objectives, and then meet secondary objectives. And then we were actually in the middle of completing truantary objectives when by mid-afternoon we had advanced like 10 miles inland that day. We'd advanced like 10 miles inland that day on the landing of D-Day, June 6th, when we were actually ordered to stop because the other beaches were struggling, and they were worried that we would be cut off, because we pushed the line so far. But it proved to be another nation-building moment, and it kind of ended any. Obviously, the British Empire fell apart in the aftermath of World War I, as dominions and Commonwealth realms continued to gain more and more independence. And so finally, and this is in 1967, is when we adopt the maple leaf as our flag. Up till that point, up till 1967, we had flown the red pendant, which was a red banner that it's a red banner that had a Union Jack on it, as well as the Canadian coat of arms, which the Canadian coat of arms is a mixture of the French and British coat of arms, with a little bit of Scottish thrown in. So in 1967, we changed our flag to the maple leaf, which still flies to this day. And this was under Prime Minister Lester Pearson. And then Prime Minister Trudeau, he was a big, this is first Trudeau, not the second Trudeau. He was a big nationalist for Canadian identity and sovereignty. And so he proposes to bring the Constitution home. He wants to propose a new Constitution for Canada that guarantees a Canadian Bill of Rights that guarantees kind of provincial rights and federal jurisdiction. Kind of just really wants to iron that out. But to do that, we need to get the Constitution back to do it. So in 1982, the Constitution returns to Canada, and we amend it to the Constitution we have today, and it gives the Canadian government certain powers, it gives the provinces certain rights, and it guarantees universal rights for Canada, kind of as a whole. And so, and then of course, so we're still the Kingdom of Canada, or just Canada, we go by these days. Although we still have the British monarch on the throne, because the monarch plays a constitutional role in Canada, and I think that's a good thing. It's kind of hard to say where we got our right to self-determination. I would argue kind of 1918, like prior to World War I, there was an attitude of subservience to Britain. And then in the aftermath of World War I, there was an attitude of we need self-determination. So I would argue like self-determination came later than Confederation. But we're a sovereign, independent nation to this day, and we're very happy for it. We've done well. Our parliamentary system works for us. I don't see the need to ever become a republic or do away with the monarchy. I wouldn't be opposed to a Canadian monarch being chosen out. Maybe someday. Maybe when Prince George takes the throne, and Prince George, who's like 11 or 12. Maybe when his father dies, maybe we just say, you know what, we want Princess Charlotte to be our queen. But because Canada has been ruled by queens for about 120 years of our 150-year existence. So, maybe we just continue that and just be like, we want Princess Charlotte to be queen. I don't know. But I'm also really happy with the British monarchy because, it's just a nice tie to where we came from. And so this is just me sharing about Canadian self-determination, and I'll catch you. It's not as fact-based or history-based as maybe some of my other videos. It's more of my opinion rather than national dialogue that I was just thinking about on my way as I was driving. So I guess I'll catch you later.